In this Water Reporter training module, we will walk through how to add and export data. Water Reporter offers two opportunities and options for uploading your data. The first is single sample inputs, which are entered directly into your Water Reporter data source. Alternatively, you can use a template that we provide and upload a batch of data. Let's look at what each looks like. The single form input is accessible to all of the teachers through the data source. In this form, you can input your data online by entering information into each of the fields that are relevant to your project. For the batch import, you can have a template stored on your local computer where you input multiple rows of data, and then once you have all of the information configured and reviewed, you can import it directly into Water Reporter. Let's look. The module's not completely yet. Let's go look at what this looks like in the system. Log in and enter the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District account. From here, you're going to click on Data Sources. Select the Cuyahoga Soil, Water, and Conservation District School Water Quality Monitoring data source. First, let's enter a single sample. To do this, click on Samples. Now, click the Create Sample button in the upper right-hand corner. Because you are an approved team member, your sample has already been verified, and that's what the certification button is for. As we scroll down, you will see all of the fields that are available to you appearing on this form. Some are required and some are optional. You will only need to fill out the forms that are required and that are relevant to the monitoring program that you are conducting. First, you want to find your station. The stations will appear if they were imported previously on the station list. As you'll notice, it shows you the station name rather than the station ID in the form. Next, you need to make sure that you have the collection information included. You can edit this if the date is, if you're backdating some of your samples. Next, scroll through and find the pieces of information that you are collecting and enter in the information. That would be a very low pH. Let's change that. I'm just making these data points up. There's no need for you to look at them as what they should accurately be. And as you can see, the quantitative parameters are listed first. You do need to put in your teacher name. And this is helpful for us to all collectively review and look at the data. And then you can go through all of these more observational posts if you want. And as you'll see a difference here, if you click into one of these fields, you have the option to click yes or no. If you did not collect this information, you can just leave it blank. And then if you have more comments that you want to attach to this sample, you can. Finally, you'll want to select your school. And if your school is not listed here, please email support@waterreporter.org and we will add it to the list. But it should have been added during your account setup process. Last but not least, make sure to save your sample. And now you have finished the sample. We don't navigate you away from the page in case you want to return to one of these items in review, or if you're saving in the middle of an entry. However, you can go over to your samples and all that information that we just collected appears on this list here. And you can click into that sample key and return to that form that we just filled out. Next, let's look at how to batch import some data. So to import a batch of data, you want to click on the Imports tab and then click the plus sign to create imports. As the program grows, you may see imports listed here. Those are previously imported files into the system. The system creates a CSV template that you can use for your import. You can download that if you don't already have access to it. I've already opened up a template and entered in my information, but I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup before I import it into the system with you. So first, we're going to delete some of the fields that are irrelevant. You don't have to do this, I just think it's helpful from a data management perspective. And so you can delete everything that you are not going to be collecting with your students. Please make sure you do not change the column headers. These are very specific to what has been configured for your system. And if you remove it, then the data will not be ingested correctly. As you can see here, you do need to input your school association and your teacher lead. So please make sure you keep those pieces of information included in the template. And it's also important to include the station ID and the collection date. All of this information will be used to start to build trend lines over time in your analysis. Once you have your template completed, you can download it, always in a CSV file. And now we're going to upload it into our Water Reporter data source. So click Choose File, then navigate to that template that you just finished configuring and click Upload. If everything has been correctly inputted, the data will very seamlessly be put into the system. And you can double check by looking again at some of the information that is included. If the data was not imported, it will also appear, or it will be clear. But one way that you can see if the data was included is to look at the number of data points. So sometimes it takes a moment, as it did this time. But that's okay. Just refresh your browser and then relook at the samples to spot check that the information was included. So once you have your data in the system, you might want to get it out as well. To export the data, you're going to click on this handy Exports tab. An export takes everything out of the system and allows you to play with it and manipulate it or add it to any analytical strategies that you have. To create an export, click the plus sign to create an export. You'll see this generating link notation for a little bit of time. It takes longer if there's more data in the data source. And after you wait a few moments, just click the refresh page, the button for the web page, and then you can double click this link to download a file of all of the data. Congratulations, you have completed Module 4. You now know how to import data 2 ways and extract data from the system.